Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to ACDT number 38. Today's May 26th. And we have just 3 items in the agenda. And the main one is regarding the Fusaka DevNet. Basically, I think we should start with that one just to see how clients are looking up to join the DevNet. And we can continue with peer DAS and then history expiry if there's anything to talk about. Also, there's another topic that was raised by Anders. I think this was left incomplete on ACDE, and we can just finish it here if he joins the call. All right. So yeah, starting with the Fusaka DevNet 0. I think we can start with test status, and then we can follow up with DevNet status and so on and so forth. Barry, do you mind going first, or should I? I just have a quick, basically, update about the tests. But do you want to? All right. Yeah, basically, the first update is that we have a release from East side about the Fusaka DevNet 0. It contains the SF5 EIPs. Basically, is ModExp only. The two ModXP related EIPs, they are inside in the release, and it's ready for everyone to just run it. And we also have a Hive instance already running. But at the current moment, we only have Go Ethereum live in here. So please check it. And if you want and you have a release or you have a branch that you want to use to run your client in this, please reach out to Paritosh, and they can, or someone in the ETH Bandhouse team, and they can add you to this Hive instance. We have another simulator for Hive that is getting ready. It's not quite ready yet. It's regarding the blob transactions and the engine API endpoints that we want to test inside of East. The reason it's not ready yet is because we had to make a lot of modifications to East for it to be able to send the blob transaction to the clients, and also request engine API requests that the get blobs basically. So that's the reason why it's not ready. But we're working on it, and we should be ready in the following days. That's it from my side. Paritosh, do you have anything else?
Yeah. So we still have to update the Hive instance with the client images that we're using in Fusaka DevNet 0. I can do that after the call is done. But yeah, Barnabas is already on the call, and I think he has updates on Fusaka DevNet 0. So I'd let him go first.
Yes, we just had Genesis about an hour ago. We decided to schedule Hulu a day from now and the first BPO a day after that. Where we are gonna have enough time for every client team to take a closer look if everything's still working. It also allows new client teams to still produce a fully ready image before we hit tomorrow. Currently, we're still waiting for Nimbus and Lighthouse on the CL side and Ergon on the EL side to have a new image that should be full ready. And I think regarding Peer 7, we plan to shut it off tomorrow after the full fork is done.
Okay, thank you. I think we can switch it up now to hear from clients if there's any concerns about joining the DevNets. How's everyone looking? Particularly Aragon, I think it's the one that you mentioned that is missing. Is there any updates from their side?
They have a working branch or a work in progress branch. I haven't had a chance to test it yet.
Marius, can you hear us? I think the issue's on his side. Yeah. All right. So, and from Nimbus on the CL side, do we have any updates?
I'm not sure if you're asking me or someone from the Nimbus team, but basically they also have an image that is currently under testing. And from Lighthouse, I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I think the last estimate was Lighthouse will give us an image tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Is there anything else that we have to discuss regarding DevNet Zero? Is everyone aware of the changes that should go in, or have any questions or discussions to be made about DevNet Zero?
Just to be clear about the BPO changes, it's just the EIP as is without any of the changes that have been proposed with respect to the fork version changes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the fork version changes and anything else is still in flux, and we would do that for DevNet 1 or potentially DevNet 2.
Sounds good. All right. If there's nothing else for DevNet Zero, should we discuss DevNet One? I think there were two SFI EIPs in the last ACDE. Is there anything that we want to discuss that now, or should we defer to next week when we have deployed DevNet Zero?
Well, there was one other thing related to the last question on the DevNet Zero fork, but one of the things we
Yes.
or have been discussing is a config change where we don't necessarily include the like Electra and Fulu epochs in the blob schedule. Like we had initially decided to do that, but we've had discussions that maybe that's not a good idea just because it could lead to changes. So, or it could lead to like inconsistencies in the config, but is the DevNet Zero version expected to have those in the config?
I'm sorry, could you repeat this?
So the config may or may not have the in the blob schedule, it may or may not have the Electra and Fulu blob parameters. That's one of the things we've been discussing. So not only do we need to know what the spec is for blob for BPO forks on DevNet Zero, but we need to know what the config is going to look like for DevNet Zero because that may change in future forks.
Yeah, I mean, I just posted the current version for DevNet Zero. We already had Genesis. So this is what we have in the blob schedule. And we still, we do not have full max blobs, but we still have Electra because we haven't merged that PRN yet. We're discussing about having the Electra blob schedule in the next potential
So
testing.
then, yeah, it actually looks like the Electra and Deneb parameters are not there in this, which I think is what we're planning to do in the future anyway.
Yeah, yeah, it's still under discussion. That's why we didn't bother to add them here for now.
Okay, that's fine.
Also, if we ever gonna include those officially, then it's gonna be really painful to test anything because then we would need to always go through those in a way. We
Yeah.
couldn't just start from Genesis.
Right. That
Yeah.
was one of the concerns was that we'd really have to make sure that, especially across different test nets and stuff, Like it's a duplication of the existing. It's putting the same thing in a config twice, and you have to really make sure those match. And it's probably a lot cleaner not to do that.
Yeah, so in future DevNet, I would assume that we're just gonna agree on, okay, which BPO we start the Genesis with. We're gonna have epoch 0 set to whatever, 18, and then go from there.
Any other comments regarding the config? The BPO config, sorry. The rest of the team's clear on how to proceed? All right. And yeah, Pari shared the link to the Fusaka DevNet 1 specs. I think someone mentioned in the chat that 7918 is also included. And as far as I know, I think we specified that last week. And then there was only a couple of changes to be made to the EIP. But yeah, I think it is specified.
Does that mean we want to definitely have this in Fusaka DevNet 1, or do we want to delay that for Fusaka DevNet 2? And the main reason for delaying would be in case we want to have the DevNet up as soon as possible, because we would like to have Fusaka DevNet 1 ready by the interop event in Berlin.
Ansgar?
Yeah, I think the main reason to select it for DevNet 1 was just that it looked like there was only, I think, a single new addition to DevNet 1 on the dev call or codev call, and we had a few ones already pending for the addition to DevNet 2. So it was really just a pragmatic choice. Nothing principled behind it. So if it actually makes more sense to push it to DevNet 2, I don't think that would be an issue.
And I think the other argument was that there was a constant that was missing. I mean, it was the only thing that was left to define. And since the constant is not the most risky part of the EIP, I think we could include it in DevNet 1. And if the constant changes, we can change the constant in DevNet 2. I think that was the decision, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. There was one last change that needed to be done to the EIP. Anders is on the call. Maybe Anders, you could briefly summarize whether you made that change already or whether it's still pending.
Yeah, so I updated the EIP yesterday. So now there is a constant. We are still going to probably discuss the exact setting for this constant, but we have a specification now, and I posted it in the PM for this call also. And you can just see the EIP. There's a specification now we can use.
Thanks, Anders. Is the EIP already updated, or does it need an update?
It's already updated.
Sounds good. I think we have everything to proceed with also the testing for this EIP.
Okay, I've added it to the EIP list for DevNet 1.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks. All right. Anything left to discuss, comments or status from any clients for DevNet 0 or DevNet 1?
I think Dimitri asked about a consensus spec PR that is still open. I'm just linking it. I don't have the current status. Do we have someone looking at this?
Yeah, do you mean 4323?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Okay. Is anybody aware of the status of this PR?
I'm not sure if G11 Tech is on this call, but maybe if Justin or I see Pavan's posted about it.
Yeah, I posted on the PR, like at least for Lighthouse, I don't think that would be useful in any way because we do not request multiple routes in a single like columns by route request. So yeah, that's what I posted on the PR. But yeah, I'm not also sure like how exactly it will give us any benefits in terms of like better bandwidth consumption or anything like that. Not convinced that it's helpful.
Yes, Gajinder?
Yeah, thanks. So basically, the aim of the PR was to make the request size smaller, and it would benefit definitely in the sense that, okay, if you have a list of block routes, basically, I don't think that would save time in amount of creating the request, but definitely if you are requesting a lot of peers, then you can send the request faster and they can inspect it earlier and say that, okay, these are the columns that they might not have, and they might also reject the request earlier. So in that sense, the latency of such requests would come down. But given the discussion that has happened, many clients sort of pool different blocks that they get, the blocks that they get from gossip, and definitely their columns might be different. So in that sense, I don't think that this format is going to serve that mechanism where you request where you are basically requesting the columns for those that you have not received in gossip. Although in Lotsa we had a different mechanism going on, where for the blocks for which DA is not complete, we basically request them one by one. So so that was my context for making this particular PR. But if other clients are basically requesting the known DA blocks altogether, which were to be DA'd in Gossip, then basically this request doesn't serve that purpose. So in that sense, I guess we can leave this PR.
Any comments from other teams about this PR?
Yeah, for Prism, we do not yet request multiple data columns by routes for different data column indices, but we plan to do it. And so, yes, in this sense, this pull request won't help us, and we would like not to see this pull request merged. So the current status is okay for us for Prism.
Thank you. And Gajinder mentions that he's fine closing the PR, given the future usage plans. Do you want to wait for other client teams? I think we have comments from only two. Do you want to wait for maybe other clients to chime in before closing? Okay, cool. Great. All right. Yeah, if there are no more comments regarding DevNet Zero, we can jump into PeerDAS right now. Let me see who is in the call. Does anybody have any updates for PeerDAS in this call?
I can talk about Prism. So right now, still a lot of code in Prism for PeerDAS is in our dedicated peer das branch. And we are slowly merging it into our unstable branch, namely develop. There is still a lot of work to do, but it's progressing quite well.
Yes, Pawan. And then Sunnyside Labs, they want to share testnet results.
Yeah, for Lighthouse, we've been, I think, other than like we haven't completed adding BPO to our tenant ready branch, and we are still working on validator custody. But that shouldn't be required as such for for the DevNet 0. Other than that, we have merged a few sync fixes, and we had a bug with get blobs v2, which we have fixed and merged into unstable. So hopefully we will have a branch ready to go by the time like the Fulu fork happens on DevNet 0. That's it for us.
Thank you. Sunnyside Labs, do you want to talk about the results?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Jay from Sunnyside Labs, and we've done some testings as shared last week. And also there are some additional tests that we'd like to discuss. So last week we were investigating like where we are on PRDAS in terms of like how many number of blobs can we reach as a whole. So we ran a bit more nodes than the original DevNet 7 spec by ETH PandaOps. So we ran 60 nodes with 6 different CLs and 3 different ELs. And we were able to reach up to nearly 50 blobs per block. So compared to the previous lab DevNet, it's an achievement, we think, because like previously we couldn't even mix this many CLs and ELs together at all. And we were able to reach like the best results out of like all the DevNets we ran. And we've, after this update, we continued looking into what can be improved so that we can reach 72 blobs per block. And then we were looking at some bottlenecks and comparing like whether there's an impact on different strategies on get blobs v2 and like the consequences of having get blobs or not having get blobs. So far, there hasn't been much difference enabling or disabling get blobs. And we also found that most of the CLs just request once per block if they can't get it from P2P network. Only Grandine was requesting more than once, but we were not able to run Grandine standalone to compare the results because it was a bit unstable. But anyway, for Lighthouse and Prism, even with and without get blobs, they were achieving much higher than before. So which were like 53 blobs per block for Lighthouse, which previously was 43, and 40 for Prism, which previously was 25. Yeah. So yeah, we will keep post like any updates and any findings we have from on the Discord channel.
Did you guys happen to look into why get blobs wasn't making a big difference? Or yeah, because that seems a bit counterintuitive for a small network.
I think we I really wanted to test Grandine because they were requesting more than once, but I guess because it's a small network, they were able to get it on via P2P. We still have to look into it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also had another question. Like, did you also happen to test any syncing, like any node in the network, like with a fresh sync, and if it caught up to head with these parameters?
Yeah, syncing was a challenge because sometimes we have to restart the entire network because many of the nodes fail to resync. Yeah, is there a way that we can manually forward sync?
Yeah, you can do that on Lighthouse. Like, you mean try to sync without checkpoint sync, or didn't understand what you mean?
Yeah, at any point, like when a node fails to catch up the chain. Yeah, I guess we can talk offline regarding like those kind of things.
And there's a question about the resource utilization for supernodes. Whether you know what's the reason behind the high resource utilization in those supernodes?
High resource utilization. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, like in the report, it says the super nodes were often running with like extremely high, the CPU being like very much utilized, like utilizing like a ton of RAM and like these kind of things. I was wondering if you maybe knew if it was like mostly due to column verification or what exactly. Just because there had been already in the past this issue that it seemed like column verification was much more expensive than it's supposed to be, like just by looking at what the library should like what are the verification times for the library, and so it's kind of, yeah, I'm just wondering if that's still the problem or if it's something else.
The resource utilization problem was particularly on Lodestar supernodes. It hasn't been an issue with other clients tested.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I did misread. I thought you just said, I didn't realize it said Lodestar.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for sharing the link. If anyone has further questions, I think we can take a look into the report and yeah, just reach out to Sunnyside for questions. Yeah, thank you. Is there anything else that we want to discuss regarding PeerDAS?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's some specific things client teams want us to be testing on PeerDAS DevNet 7 before we get rid of it. I think a natural test would be just making sure we can sync to head with all CLs. Besides that, is there anything else we should check?
Yeah, I would say syncing in both in a network which is finalizing and not finalizing. I think it's important to test both because sometimes, at least it is the case in Prism, the code path is not exactly the same when we want to sync in the finalizing client compared to a non-finalizing client. So yes, would be useful to test this.
Yeah, sounds good. We can make it non-finalized. We can do a basic sync test when it's finalizing, make it non-finalizing, and do another round of sync tests. I think that should be straightforward.
And Yeah, and especially also, I said this for the previous DevNet. I think it's important to run at least a few hours of blobs transaction before going to Fulu, because there is a Electra to Fulu transition which can cause some bugs as well, because Electra has blobs and Fulu has data columns.
I was talking about PRDAS DevNet 7 up until now. So that one is the one we would be deprecating this week.
Yeah, but it's still the case. I mean, we can run Electra for a few hours in PRDAS DevNet 7 before activating Fulu. Or maybe I'm missing something.
I mean, PRDAS DevNet 7 already has Fulu, right?
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but I agree. What you're saying is we can apply it to the Pusaka.
Yeah.
We can do that, yeah. And
There's
I
a
Marius
sorry.
something. Marius, I think we might need a malicious get to do that, right? To create a block with cell
Yeah.
block transactions.
I can build you one.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
But could you expand a little bit more on what you mean? I didn't quite get it.
So my idea is to send like as I said in the interrupt chat already, we should try to make sure that all of the transaction pools are rejecting the cell proof transactions before Fulu, and we made sure. But now we should create a block that has a transaction in that has the cell proofs. So if someone mines a faulty block with the EL, that those blocks get rejected by the CL.
Yes, Francisco.
Because
Yeah,
they
wait, but what does that mean with like the cell proofs would be in the network wrapper? So how could you even put them in the block?
well, I mean with a transaction where the network wrapper is the new cell proof.
What I mean is like today the current proof type doesn't go in the block anyway. So it would be like I mean you could somehow do it, but it would be like more
Well,
than
it does go like we don't really have a name for the object that we pass through the engine API to the consensus layer. It's the
in that
block
sense. Okay, I
plus
see. Yeah, okay, I
what
see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
I didn't understand you meant through the engine API. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But how the rest of the clients would detect this?
The CLs should reject the the proof.
I think it would be like a deserialization failure when you get it over the engine API, ideally.
I think we can explore also doing it in Hive. We have a new type of testing in East that we basically use get blobs, but I think maybe we can tweak it a little bit to see if we can do this test case. I'm not sure though. I'm gonna check it in East.
Well, yeah, but get blobs, that's different, right? Like this is not the consensus path. Like we should definitely make sure that if we return cell proofs on get blob v1 or blob proofs on get blob v2, get blobs v2, then the CL clients should reject them. But this is more about like the consensus path.
Got it. Thank you. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Do we have anything else for PeerDAS that we want to discuss? If not, the last topic that I have in the agenda is history expiry. I left this because we talked about it in the previous meeting, so maybe there was something left that we have to discuss. But if not, that's okay. Do we have anything that someone wants to share about the update in history expiry? Okay, if not, is there anything else, any other topics that we're missing from the agenda that anyone wants to bring up? Okay, otherwise we can yeah, the agenda is normally shared in the PM repo as an issue. So you can just look up their ACDT. This is the current agenda. Just go into the PM repo, go to issues, and just look up ACDT, which is this meeting, and then you can either comment if you want to discuss something during the meeting, or yeah, you can revisit the topics afterwards. And there should be a basically meeting notes in here after the meeting also. But yeah. All right. Yeah, if there's nothing else, I think we can wrap it up now and just wait the next couple of days that DevNet Zero is launched, and we can pick it up from there. See if there is any issues. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bye.